I'm a lifelong Hearts of Oak fan and Arsenal Football Club supporter. Mr. Chairman, I think that the last thing I'll say is that until my nomination by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, a day to my 40th birthday, I used to be the Secretary General of the African Parliamentary Network on Internet Governance, which is a network of parliamentarians across the African continent pursuing internet governance. And so I sit before you because I got the honor and privilege of a fantastic 40th birthday gift from His Excellency the President of Ghana as a nominee, or his nominee, to the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations. I thank you.
Thank you very much. We are going to start with a question, obviously, from the subject matter area, Order 2175. So we'll start with, from my left, I'll start with Honorable Isaac Boamanyakun. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, nominee. I've known you for quite a while when we both undertook the University of Law LLB program. So it's University of London Law. Yes, we did the LLB together. So, nominee, my first question to you, if you look at the cost of calling in Ghana on our mobile networks, when you compare the cost to other West African countries and other jurisdictions like Europe, you find out that the cost of calls in Ghana is very, very high. What are you going to do as the Minister of Communication to bring down the cost of calling in Ghana? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And so we'll continue to work with stakeholders and the regulator. To see how well we can continue to drive prices down using regulation in a way that makes the businesses sustainable and does not kill the investments of MNOs in the sector. I thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up on this particular one, yes. Ghanaians have had concerns in terms of, again, the cost and the treatment that they receive from the telephony group. You make a call and they tell you the call is out of coverage area, the number you are calling cannot be reached when the person is right in distance with you. When you put all of these together and the cost that one needs to pay for such services, what are you going to do as a minister to assure Ghanaians that whatever cost we incur in these service areas receive the needed benefits of those calls?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Once again, on the issue of voice calls, I think that the real issue with voice calls is not necessarily the cost, if I understand the market. It's what you've just pointed out in your follow-up, the quality of service.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy, Charlie. But you know what be easy now? Keep it 4 in 1 Gary.
Where you're making calls and the rate of call drops and call failures are extremely high. I agree with you that there is work that needs to be done from the ministry by way of policy through the regulator, the National Communications Authority, to ensure that the KPIs for the MNOs and service providers is enhanced and that we ensure having the real consumer experience that citizens have to have. As Minister Designate, I think no. I think that there's a lot of work that the telcos have to do. Government also has to do some work because for you to get better quality of experience, you need to allocate more spectrum to the MNOs. So as Minister Designate, if approved by this House and I become the minister, one of the things we'll work with the regulators to do is to make more spectrum available to the MNOs. However, we'll be raising the KPIs and ensuring that the standards are met. And I will not be a minister who will be afraid to impose fines on MNOs who fail to meet the quality of service. Ghanaians deserve the best quality of service. And we would crack the whip where necessary, but we would also support the MNOs to ensure that they get what is needed to provide us the best quality of service. I thank you.
Thank you very much, nominee. My second question, Mr. Chairman, sits around the emerging issue of cybersecurity threat that we face as a country. In Ghana, sits around the emerging issue of cybersecurity threat on the nation and very dire. When you check the cost of cybersecurity,
please, Chairman, I want to draw your attention that this committee, members of this committee originally, we don't have a quorum to continue with this vetting. And I want to bring that to your notice. And I'm raising quorum issues. Chairman, you should be able to establish that we have quorum under Order 64. Then we'll be able to make proceedings. We don't have quorum.
Chairman, with all due respect to the First Deputy Minority Chief Whip, with all due respect to him, this shouldn't happen again. If you want to invoke the rules, please do so properly. Do not interrupt the proceedings in such a disorderly manner. You have failed to invoke the rules properly. This is a committee proceedings are statutorily mandated to be represented on the committee where subject matter minister nominees appear. As we speak, your side has provided 2 names as subject matter leadership committee from the communications committee. The majority side has also provided 2 subject matter honorable names to satisfy the requirement. And at that myself, yours truly, the chairman presiding, plus the 2 members you have supplied, plus 2 from our side, that is 6. Even minus you. And you are not a member of this committee. You are not.
Speaker,
please, with all due respect.
Point of order. I'm a member of this committee.
With all due respect.
Understanding Order 2177.
Yes.
Read Order 2177. I'm a member of this committee.
Please. I haven't called you yet. Please.
But you didn't call him and he's also distracting. So if he's misleading the House, he should read Order 2177. And no, then he should withdraw the fact that I'm not a member of this committee. Because if you read Order 2177,
Chairman,
it states that a member of the leadership of the House is entitled to participate. I'm a leader of the House.
Chairman,
I am entitled to. So I am a member of the committee. So don't say I am not.
Please switch off. Please. Let's try and do this orderly. Please, let's have some order.
Establish that you have quorum. Establish it. The ranking member, the vice ranking, the minority whip, the 1 person we appointed who is in the person of Honorable Patrick Buama, none of them is here. On your side, the chairman is not here. The vice chair who you are presiding now, they are not also here. Establish that you have quorum before you continue.
All right, can you...
Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Roxon, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Please, let's
Chairman.
Can you come in?
Chairman,
you come in?
With all due respect to the Honorable Habib, with all due respect to him, my point is that he's not a statutory member. He's also a member in pursuance of 2177. So if you just walk in, you have not even sat down for more than 2 minutes, and then you jumped in. Now, I have established that this committee is properly constituted for its work. In any case, we are not speaking of a commencement quorum. There's a difference between a commencement quorum and a decision-making quorum. You have not demonstrated the distinction. This, please, Chairman, with all due respect, this is very serious business of state. So the leader should comport himself. And if he wants to come in, okay, I withdraw that. I withdraw that. Now,
Chairman,
I withdraw. It's withdrawn. It's withdrawn.
Please withdraw.
Now you just jumped in to raise an issue of quorum. And I'm saying, this is the 3rd nominee that we are listening to, we are interrogating. The point where you could raise a commencement quorum is long past in the morning. We are in progress, we are in flight. When it comes to a decision making, then you could decide, you could raise the issue of quorum that we are about to take a decision as a committee. We are not properly constituted. Now, may I hold on? May I refer you to Article 102 of the Constitution and 104 of the Constitution? And in reading that, marry it with the decision of the Supreme Court in Abdullah versus Attorney General, that the rules of Parliament are applicable mutatis mutandis to the procedure before a committee's work, and that where the committee has begun proceedings, quorum was established, and the proceedings is ongoing. So you cannot raise the issue of commencement. Now, let me establish this point. Chairman, let me establish this point. Order 2171. The Appointments Committee comprises the First Deputy Speaker as chairperson, Minority Leader as ranking member, the Deputy Majority Leader as Vice Chairperson, the Deputy Minority Leader as Deputy Ranking Member, and the following other members: A, the Majority Chief Whip; B, Minority Chief Whip; C, 5 other members selected based on the numerical strength of the parties in Parliament. So based on 2171, A, B, and C, the standing membership of this committee is 11. Now, based on 2172, the chairperson and ranking member and 2 other members of the relevant subject matter standing or select committee shall join the members of the appointments committee to consider persons nominated by the president for appointment as all that. Now, Chairman, with all due respect to the First Deputy Minority Chief Whip, his membership is provided under 2177. And it says, a member of the leadership of the House is entitled to participate in the proceedings of the committee during the consideration of nominees for appointment. So the issue of quorum, and quorum is, and Mr. Chairman, to invoke Order 64. And let me refer the House to Order 64. This agenda to disrupt these proceedings, it won't work. So let me address, Chairman, let me address this matter and we make progress. Now, quorum in Parliament. Quorum in Parliament. Chairman, Order 64.1. A quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, is 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. Now, where the person presiding is a deputy speaker or a member, that person shall be counted as part of the quorum. Now, I agree that the orders will apply to the work of the committee. Without establishing the number around the table, you just said that we don't have a quorum. Meanwhile, as we speak, the standing membership of the committee is 11. And we have myself, we have the vice chairperson, we have the Honorable Ajia represented, we have the Honorable Rita Odole represented, we have the Honorable Mahama Shaibu represented, and we have Honorable Uma. He has just stepped out. We have just stepped out. So this attitude, Chairman, with all due respect, Chairman, let me conclude by saying, let me conclude. Chairman, the honorable member is completely out of order. He's completely out of order. We must make progress with our nominee. I so submit. I thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Okay, Honorable Abujinapo, please, let's do this orderly.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if you allow me, let me congratulate the nominee and to say that I sympathize with him. That he's caught up in this litigation. But indeed, it's his chief whip who is. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, I want to submit that the application and procedure invoked by the first Deputy Minority Chief Whip, is properly grounded, is properly construed, and is properly laid before you, the chairman of this committee. Let me establish 2 preliminary points. The first one is that the majority, Mr. Chairman, the first one is that the majority, the learned majority chief whip, who is a senior lawyer, whom I respect a lot, himself makes the point that at the commencement of the proceedings of a committee, one can raise the issue of quorum. In the same vein, he makes a strenuous effort to establish the fact that this committee is properly constituted and this committee has quorum. And he goes ahead to try and even name members of the committee to establish that there is quorum. Meanwhile, he has said that, Mr. Chairman, he has said that you can only raise the issue of quorum at the beginning or the commencement of the proceedings of the committee. That's the first point, the first preliminary point. The second preliminary point, Mr. Chairman, the second preliminary point, don't wait. The second, Mr. Chairman, the country, Chief Whip, Mr. Chairman, the country is listening to us. The majority Chief Whip has made a very comprehensive legal submission. Members on this side, the minority, we are making our submission. I think we owe it to the nominee, we owe it to the country to get to the bottom of this matter in an orderly manner based on the rules of the House. Mr. Chairman, the second point I make is that what the deputy minority chief whip sought to do was to raise an application pursuant to Order 64 of the Standing Orders of Parliament to the chairman of the committee. And Mr. Chairman, when that application is laid, it is only and only when the application is laid before the chairman will the chairman go through the processes and the proceedings pursuant to Order 64 of the Standing Orders to make a determination whether or not this committee, this Appointments Committee of Parliament, is properly constituted and that it has quorum. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I want to quote Order 64. And I quote. Order 64 says,
Mr. Chairman,
a quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, is 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. Two,
please.
Where the person presiding is a deputy speaker or a member, part of the quorum.
Please.
3, a member may draw the attention of the person presiding at any time during a sitting that members. Mr. Chairman, can I be listening in silence? We are live on national television. I mean, can we please? Now, look. No, can we? And so, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable, please. Honorable. Honorable member.
Not a member.
No,
he is not.
Can you put that thing off? Please. Yeah. Okay. All right. Honorable member, I believe you are done.
Mr. Chairman, no, just a few more minutes.
Yeah.
1 or 2 more
Please
points.
relax.
And so, Mr. Chairman, what is the point I seek to make? Mr. Chairman, the submission I make is that pursuant to Order 64 of our rules, when a member makes an application to the chairman, and indeed, the majority chief whip himself, and I will always refer to him as a learned majority chief whip, has submitted that the rules of the parliament as a plenary, the parliament as a whole, is applicable to the proceedings of a committee of parliament. And therefore, Order 64 is applicable to this appointments committee. And so what is my conclusion and what is my contention? And of course, Article 102 and Article 101 buttresses this point. Mr. Chairman, and so I'm contending that when the Deputy First Minority Chief Whip made the application to you, the correct and proper procedure pursuant to Order 64, which is Order 64 applicable to the House of Parliament, and which the Majority Chief Whip himself has submitted, applies to the Committee of the House, and therefore the committee, the Appointments Committee. Mr. Chairman, I conclude by saying that you then would have gone through the processes of establishing whether or not this committee is properly constituted and has quorum to conduct business. But as we speak, Mr. Chairman, as we speak, the NDC members of this committee have now all run into the committee. They run here. They rush here. So, Mr. Chairman, on that basis, let me conclude by saying that the first Deputy Minority Chief Whip has withdrawn his application. It was properly grounded, and therefore let us proceed.
Thank you very much. I have, please, let's continue the meeting. Well, we have the commencement quorum, so we'll continue the meeting. And then you are overruled, actually. Can we continue? Yeah, you on the floor. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Before you go on, just to bring to your attention, I was given this piece of paper before we started, and Honorable Abu Jinapo is a subject matter person on this table. So you help us form a quorum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I was on my second question to the nominee, and that's my second. I hope, okay, so my question was that cyber security has been a national concern, and I was indicating that the country has experienced some couple of cyber attacks. And then when you consider the cost of establishing cyber security in institutions, it is on a very high side. When you look at the NDC manifesto, you talked about enhancing support to cyber security establishment and initiatives. I want to know first from the nominee, what is he going to do as a minister to fund cyber security initiatives to ensure that the country's systems and networks are adequately protected? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the cybersecurity of our country is a critical one that sits and straddles the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technologies and Innovation, and our national security apparatus. In fact, when you read the National Security Strategy document that was prepared in 2020, I believe that paragraph 3.4 on page 41 speaks about our cybersecurity preparedness as a nation. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, in 2020, we passed Act 1038, which is the Cybersecurity Act. As a member of the committee at the time, I played a key role in the formulation of that legislation. And when you speak about funding cybersecurity, I'm sure that the outgoing minister will bear witness, and the members of the committee, that when the bill came to Parliament from Cabinet, it did not have anything about funding cybersecurity. It was my personal intervention and amendments to the bill that introduced Section 23 of the bill, which is the funds of the bill. I would say that it is just sheer providence that 4 years after the bill came into law, the outgone government was unable to operationalize the fund. And I, who brought it into the bill, today sits here as a nominee of the president to superintend this bill. I give you the assurance that the brain and thinking behind me introducing funding for the bill, and if you read it, I identify a number of sources to fund cybersecurity. One of them is grants from the government. Another is allocations from government or grants from individual donor agencies like the Mastercard Foundation and Rockefeller Foundation. Another one is actually the establishment of the Cyber Fund, which will be a dedicated fund for beneficiaries of cybersecurity. So I think I just share Providence that when approved by this House, and I assume office as Minister for Communications, the thoughts that came through my mind in September 2020, when I introduced this as an amendment, will see the light of day under President John Dramani Mahama. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My last point has to do with the fintech space. It has to do with this fintech space. So you realize that a lot of Ghanaian enterprises or young Ghanaians have built capacity within the fintech industry. Yet when you look at support from donor enterprises like the World Bank, most of their support in these areas are for Ghanaians to buy software, or they buy softwares for Ghanaian companies, which limit the development of our fintech industries. Now, there's also a call from your NDC and during your manifesto that you were going to establish a $50 million fund to support the fintech industry. My question is, how are you going to protect the young Ghanaians who have built up their capacity in this fintech space? How are we going to make sure that they get the needed support and leverage to build their capacities and growth? And also, how is this fund going to be disbursed? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as subcommittee chairman for the NDC's Manifesto Drafting Committee on Digital Economy and ICT, we put in place that policy plank with the approval of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to set up a 50 million fintech fund. The 50 million fintech fund, that 50 million is supposed to be a seed funding that we're going to use to attract funds from other multilateral and bilateral donor agencies. Our target is to build a $300 million fund. That's not going to be disbursed like confetti, but that's going to be used as seed funding to attract major funding from venture capitalists and angel investors. Another thing we're going to be doing to support the fintech industry in Ghana is the setting up of business advisory supports and regulatory sandboxes to ensure that our young startups survive. In fact, the statistics show that most startups die before their 5th anniversary, and that's because most of these startups are started by young innovators who don't have all it takes to run a business. It's one thing being an innovator, is a completely different business running and managing a business enterprise. And so that's where this fund is going to come in to offer them the business advisory support, to give them what it takes to run a business profitably, whilst the innovative juices of young Ghanaians, the creative minds that God has blessed this country with, will continue to explode. But one last thing we're going to do for the fintechs is that we're going to redefine the entire regulatory framework. As we see today, the President has issued an executive instrument that redesignates the Ministry of Communications to the Ministry for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation. Fintechs are a digital technology. It's because of them. They are at the heart of President Mahama's government because he wants to have a truly financially inclusive government by the time he's leaving office in 2028. And so we're going to set up an independent subsidiary of the Bank of Ghana along the lines of the FCA in the UK. And along the lines of GIPS, 100% owned by the Bank of Ghana, but that's going to be agile in its regulatory framework and allow for innovation, things like agri-tech, edu-tech, insurance technology in the fintech space to take off. So this is the golden era for fintechs under the next 4 years of John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Chairman, I thank you.
Any further questions? Or you are done? You've asked your 3 questions. Then I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Abu Jinapo. Honorable members, what we do is that we want to exhaust the subject matter committee members first, under Order 2172. And subject matter committee members is 2 from each side. So if you want me to give the floor to another person.
What is your pleasure? You want to go the other side?
Honorable Abednego, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And congratulations, Senior. Your appointment does not surprise anybody because you have proven to be very, very, very astute in the communications industry. I wasn't here in the 7th Parliament, but I followed your exploits when you played a leading role in getting the cybersecurity law passed in 2020, Act 1038. There was a question on that, but let me pick your thoughts also on the same subject matter. There is 2 schools of thought. One believes that the Cybersecurity Authority should be under the remit of the national security. Others, they make the argument that it has to do with cross-border crime, talking about jurisdictional issues. Those who are in favor that it should remain with the Ministry of Communications make the argument that it is an IT-related, and therefore it should be with the Ministry of Communications. You have been with it from its inception. What is your thoughts on these 2 of thoughts?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In my earlier response, I made reference to the National Security Strategy document of 2020 that recognizes cybersecurity as a key tool. I agree that there's the school of thought that thinks that cybersecurity should not sit, especially the Cybersecurity Authority, should not sit under the Ministry of Communications, but rather under the National Security Ministry. There is some merit to that, but I think that when you look at it holistically, you realize that that will not be the best architecture. When you look at best case situations across the world, like in India, like in Singapore and in Rwanda, you realize that you keep your Cybersecurity Authority under your Ministry for Communications or your ICT ministry, because cybersecurity plays 5 cardinal roles, or has 5 interfaces. There's the public interface, which deals with the citizens. Then there is the international interface, our engagements with multilateral and bilateral stakeholders. You've got the industry interface as well, where you talk about the cybersecurity professionals in the sector. You've got the policy formulation, which is largely what the ministry will lead. And then you've got the security and intelligence interface. So of 5 interfaces, 4 of them are civilian and 1 is security. If you move it under your National Security Ministry, it becomes difficult for you to have the full benefit of the 4 other interfaces, be it policy, be it industry, be it international or public interfaces. What we need to do is to have collaborations between the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation and our national security outfits to ensure that the synergies are built between both institutions. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I will not have further questions because Minister Designate, your competence and capabilities is unquestioned. Congratulations once again.
Any further questions? I then move to give the floor to Honorable Abu Jinapo.
I'm ready.
Honorable former Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me congratulate Honorable Sam George for his appointment as the Minister for Communication, and I do so very warmly. Congratulations, Minister. Mr. Nominee, I believe you've been following the unfolding matter of intense interest to the world, which is a matter I refer to the Chinese AI app company DeepSeek, which has caused a major upset in the American Silicon Valley industry, which is resulted even in tech company, AI company giants such as NVIDIA losing $600 billion United States dollars of stock. This area has become a major area, artificial intelligence, and how other countries are leveraging on them to bring about progress and development. If you are recommended by this committee to Parliament and the Parliament were to approve you and you become the Minister for Communications, what plans or what is your thinking on how Ghana itself can tap into or can plug into this artificial intelligence industry to bring about development in our country? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I saw a quote the other day that said AI in 2025 is like Bitcoin in 2013. Jump on the bandwagon now or you get left out. President Mahama has a clear vision on his AI policy. We're going to take the current AI strategy that was developed by the previous government, review it, make it fit for purpose by engaging industry and ensuring that Ghana becomes the hub for artificial intelligence on the African continent. We're going to do this by making sure that our innovation hubs, as promised in our manifesto, are executed, and then we will introduce AI on top of big data that we are taking. Ghana will become the center and the hub for artificial intelligence, machine learning, cybersecurity, data analytics, and data processing on the continent in the next 4 years. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the question has been asked already, but I think it's a very important matter.
Honorable Minister, your second question.
Yeah, my second question. And I think it's a very important matter which I believe the nominee will want to shed some more light on. Cybersecurity is a major area in the security framework of the world. I mean, it's probably, arguably, one of the most important areas of security concerns across the world, cybersecurity. Now, you've spoken to it, but there is obviously the big debate out there as to where the effort to clamp down on cybersecurity should be properly situated. Some of the pundits hold a school of thought that it's a national security issue, and therefore it should be situated within the ambit or the confines of the national security architecture, with the Ministry of Communication being more or less the expert or specialist wing which supports the national security to clamp down on cybersecurity. Of course, you cited the example of India, but there are other examples like America, like England, like Europe, and several other places where the framework is fundamentally different from some of the examples you cited. In Ghana today, it is situated under the Ministry of Communications largely. What is your position? Not so much as to how the country's efforts at fighting cybersecurity, where it should be situated, but how can we build the proper synergy between the national security apparatus holistically in its totality and your ministry to ensure that we come to full grips on the issue of cybersecurity in Ghana?
Thank you. Once again, I'll just reiterate for the purposes of this committee and for the betterment of the people of Ghana. The NDC holds a view that cybersecurity is not just a national security issue, it's also a civilian issue. Cybersecurity has two sides, it's two sides of the same coin, protecting citizens from the state and from malicious actors. If you put cybersecurity solely under the ambit of national security, it assumes a fully militarized, weaponized tool. But cybersecurity, like I said, has the public, has the industry, has the international and policy outlooks that we need to keep as civilian. The architecture we have today allows for daily briefings by the Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority to the National Security Coordinator. So we are fully integrated. There's full briefings. The Joint Security Council has the Minister for Defense, the Minister for Interior, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Minister for National Security, and the Minister for Communications there. And I'll just make this clear. You've got the police, the Minister for Interior, overseeing the police, the Ghana Police Service. The Ghana Police Service does some work relative to cybersecurity. We've not moved the police from Ministry of Interior under National Security. You've got Defense Intelligence under the Ministry of Defense. We haven't moved them under National Security. You've got the Research Department under Foreign Affairs. You've not moved them under National Security. Cybersecurity has a home under Communications, and it will remain there. Thank you.
You are entitled to 3 questions, so you can ask your final question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in the run-up to the 2024 elections, the honorable nominee, on several occasions, and I have various articles to that effect, dates and occasions on which the honorable nominee made the point I'm about to put to him. And one of them I quote, which was uttered on the 5th of December at the NDC's final rally. And I quote, Mr. Chairman, the nominee said, vote for candidate Mahama to sign the anti-LGBTQ bill, end quote. Mr. Chairman, by way of background, we are all very familiar with the interest, this, and rightly so, the interest the anti-LGBTQ bill generated in our country, so much that it traveled all the way to the Supreme Court. And the honorable nominee was very categorical that if you voted for President Mahama, the bill will be signed. So my question to the nominee, following the firm promise and commitment he made to the Ghanaian people on behalf of his party, the National Democratic Congress, and his candidate, President Mahama, when will the bill be signed? When will the bill be signed?
Thank you very much. But Honorable Sam George, be brief. Be brief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know that this question, because you were chairman of Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs, you know my passion about this. His Excellency President Mahama spoke immediately after his swearing in when he met with the Catholic Bishops' Conference. I wish to quote what he said, parts of what he said, with your permission. So the convention is that all bills that are not assented to before the expiration of the life of Parliament expires. And so that bill, effectively, is dead. It has expired. I don't know what the promoters of the bill intend to do, but I do think that we should have a conversation on it again. I repeat that again for emphasis. President Mahama said, I do think that we should have a conversation on it again, so that all of us, if we decide to move that bill forward, move it forward with a consensus. My position is that that bill is a critical part of our national life. Ghanaian family values, our children's innocence must be protected. In this 9th Parliament, that bill will be reintroduced, either as a private member's bill or as government's bill. I will work with government. If it's government's bill, if it's not and it's my bill, I will bring it back again, because my chiefs seated here, the chiefs from Ningo and Pram, supported me in bringing that bill in the 8th Parliament. They've asked me to reintroduce it in the 9th Parliament. I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of follow-up questions. I have a couple of follow-up. I didn't ask follow-up questions in the first two questions.
No, you are entitled to a follow-up question on a substantive question. So once you don't exercise the right to ask a follow-up question after asking the first question, the second question, you can have
so I can't
3 follow-ups. You are now entitled to 1 follow-up question on the LGBTQ.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, the nominee is also on record to have said, and I quote, the Chief Justice is helping Akufo-Addo to support LGBTQ, end quote. I want to repeat. The nominee is on record to have said, the Chief Justice is helping Akufo-Addo to support LGBTQ. Mr. Chairman, we are all very much aware of how strong a Christian the Chief Justice is. And indeed, the nominee came to this conclusion because in his view, the Chief Justice was not expediting action on the anti-LGBTQ case in the Supreme Court. Eventually, Mr. Chairman, the matter was determined, and indeed, the Supreme Court determined the matter in favor of the plaintiffs, that the bill be transmitted to the President for his assent. And therefore, my follow-up question is, will the nominee, in the light of what has happened, and will the nominee, given that the basis for his conclusion is obviously been proven wrong, will he apologize to the Chief Justice here? And further so, will he agree with me that at the time he promised that President Mahama would sign the anti-LGBTQ if voted into office, the nominee, as a very intelligent, experienced legislator, knew very well that on the dissolution of the 8th Parliament, that bill will no longer stand. And that bill will also pass with the dissolution of the 8th Parliament. And there would therefore not be any bill for President Mahama to assent to. Will he agree that there was some element of dishonesty in making that commitment to the Ghanaian people? Will he apologize to the Chief Justice, and will he agree that he knew very well that the bill will not be available for President Mahama to sign onto if voted into office?
Thank you very much, but there is a bit of correction of the question that I will have to clarify, honorable members. The action was taken by the plaintiff, and if the plaintiff's action is dismissed, the decision of the court cannot be in favor of the plaintiff. So the plaintiff's action clearly was dismissed. The plaintiff action was to the effect that the bill must not be transmitted, and the court's decision is that the bill must be transmitted. So, but you said in your question that the decision of the Supreme Court was in favor of the plaintiff. Very well. Having considered, may you go ahead to answer the question.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for that clarity, because I was going to make that clarity. Mr. Chairman, let me state that I'm an elder of a church. And as an elder of the church, my integrity and honesty are key principles that I hold dear. My opinions about the actions and inactions of the Chief Justice remain. They are unchanged, and they have been vindicated by the actions of the Chief Justice post my demonstration against her. She could have taken action earlier. She held her own horses. My opinion of the Chief Justice remains my opinion today. It doesn't change.
Thank you very much. I then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Lydia Akamvariba.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Actually, I don't have a question to ask my able deputy ranking. I only want to congratulate you. Your appointment is no surprise to me because I know that you can even do much better than the position they have given you. I have been with you in the committee from day one. We all went together to APNIC, African Parliamentarian Network on Internet Governance. I'm a member of that particular organization. It is because of the nominee that I can proudly say that I'm the treasurer of West African Parliamentarian Network on Internet Governance. I know somebody will ask, he's your junior brother, but how come? He has the experience. No, experience is not about age. Experience is not about...
Honorable Lydia, if you don't have questions, let's make progress. Let's make progress.
I want to use the opportunity to thank the President very much for appointing you, and I wish you the best of luck in that committee and in that ministry. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I then recognize Honorable Hajia Ladi Ayamba.
Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity. Congratulations. As for this, congratulations, it's worth it more than 1,000,000 times. But we have to just do it for the fact that we are supposed to do it. You have worked, you deserve it, and you are there. What we can think about is that the Almighty Allah bless you so that you'll be able to work and work harder. The LGBTQ plus with all the pluses under the sun, which you spoke, worked, and did everything about. My concern is about issues of what was being put inside our books, that is in the schools, for peoples to learn. And I'm using peoples because this is as far as the basic schools. Will you consider using your expertise as a communicator to continue to advocate and to work hand in hand with the Minister for Education to ensure that our books are properly looked into so that we don't buy the minds of our children when they are so innocent? Will you consider that? After answering that question, I say thanks to the Almighty Allah for putting you in that position, and may He guide and protect you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nominee. Again, just be brief.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I would put everything in my bin to protect the innocence of Ghanaian children. And we would instruct our cybersecurity authority and our Child Online Protection Program to collaborate with the Ministry of Education to ensure that our children are protected from anti-Ghanaian values in any e-learning book or model that will be introduced into our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I recognize Charles Oredu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, you operate within the terms agreed upon.
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, congratulations, Honorable Sam Nate George. Honorable, do you have a Ghana card with you? Do you have a Ghana card?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. So do you have it with you now?
No, not on my person.
Okay. So why would you say that using the Ghana card as the primary source for the SIM registration was flawed, and that you would want to subject the good people of Ghana to another re-registration of the SIM card?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Common sense is the reason why I'll say that. Because the actions that happened under the last government were very at par with common sense and logic. We've got a National Identification Authority that holds and sits as our national repository of biometric data. I think it was wickedness of the highest order to subject Ghanaians to long hours of queues, taking away productive man hours affecting our economy, to go and queue again and resubmit biometrics, simply because egos could not be managed. We will do a proper SIM re-registration again. But this time, nobody's going to queue, because common sense will prevail, expertise will prevail, and logic will work. The MNOs hold a certain set of data. We would use technology to cross-reference that against the NIA's database and all biometric databases, and only instances where there are disparities would require you visiting an MNO shop. Because today, as we speak, the telcos cannot truly verify who is holding their SIM card. And it even is in their own benefit for us to do this process and do it properly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll proceed to recognize.
I have a follow-up.
Please be fast.
Honorable nominee, as a follow-up to the question, to the first question.
Okay. Hold on. Before the second question, Honorable nominee, we played with you. We know issues associated with the use of common sense. So I will consequentially direct that the aspect of the common sense be deleted from your answer to the question. Thank you very much. Please proceed to ask your second question. How can he withdraw what I have directed to be expunged from the record? I have given a direction that same be expunged from the record. So it's no longer available for him to withdraw. Please proceed to ask your next question.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for your ruling on this matter. As a follow-up to the earlier question for the re-registration that you've planned to undertake, is it going to cost the Ghanaian taxpayer for the re-registration that you just spoke about?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Unlike under the immediate past government where people had to pay to use an app, no Ghanaian will have to pay for this. The cost will be borne by the MNOs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up or the last question? Please go ahead.
Mr. Nominee, I hope you are aware that under the supervision of the former Minister for Communications, Ghana launched the 5G network. I think that the whole of Africa, probably apart from South Africa and then one or two other countries, Ghana ranked really high in the launch of this 5G. You were on record to have said that you plan to roll this 5G network that, MPP launched commercially if NDC should win the elections. Now, you are the minister. NDC is in power. You plan to commercially roll this out. But what about the good people of, say, Akrofonso, the good people of Impintimpi, the good people of Adadekrom, who are complaining that even after the launch of the 3G network, they were not even having a good connectivity. They had issues with the speed of the internet. Then 4G, and now you are ready to roll out the 5G.
Thank you very much. Order. Honorable members, government is continuous. Ghanaians are aware that they just left power some 3 weeks ago. So please proceed to answer the question.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, I was going to, following on your premise, the honorable member has just admitted the failings of the past government over the last 8 years, but we would fix it. President Mahama is here to reset the country, and in resetting it, we'll fix it. Fixing 3G, 4G, and rolling out 5G are not mutually exclusive. With the right handsets, skill sets, and the persons in charge, you can do all of those at the same time. We would make sure that 3G and 4G penetration gets to all the hamlets and villages you've spoken about, and at the same time, roll out 5G. We will do it. It is possible to reset Ghana.
My last question.
Thank you. Yes, your very last question.
Grateful that you said it's possible. My last question, Mr. Nominee. What's your take on ECOWAS and the national roaming policy? You know that in Europe, subscribers do have this European policy where if, say, you move from one European country to the other, you pay the same cost for data and then for calls. But in Africa, it's totally different.
Honorable member, your question.
The question Mr. Chairman, I was building, the background.
Please.
The question is, what is your take on ECOWAS and this, its a national roaming policy? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I think that the roaming policy is one that we need to embrace. Under the last administration, I'm aware that there are about 3 other African countries where Ghana has signed on with where you can roam your calls and data. I believe that we're going to continue under the ECOWAS framework to ensure that roaming, ECOWAS roaming, and Honorable Chairman, there's a bit of a distinction between ECOWAS roaming and national roaming. The question seems to equate both. They're 2 different things, because the ECOWAS roaming is between Ghana and other member states of ECOWAS. National roaming is within the confines of the country, but between the MNOs. So you're an MTN user, you get into an area, you can run on the Telecel network. A Telecel network user can run on the AT network. So we'll work on both national roaming to integrate it properly and ECOWAS roaming as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will recognize Honorable Alassane Umar.
Thank you, Chairman, for this opportunity. Honorable Sam George, congratulations. I wish you well. I have a question regarding this. I have 2. One is about the party manifesto, and that is about the rolling out of how will you roll out the 1 million coders project. Can you tell us?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the number of models that are being considered, when approved by this House, I would, under the instructions of His Excellency, determine which of the models will be suitable for rollout by His Excellency. But we've got about 3 models, but I can't speak to them until approved by this House and giving direction by His Excellency. But we have 3 feasible models to run them out. Thank you.
Thank you. My second question is about MTN Ghana has been declared as an SMP, which is a significant market power. Would you reverse the decision, and why?
Thank you very much. The outgone minister or the outgone administration declared MTN as an SMP under Section 20 of the NCA Act. Mr. Chairman, being declared an SMP is not a bad thing. However, the mode in which you use it is where the problem is. The previous administration used the SMP tool as a punitive measure. The SMP tool is meant to be a corrective measure. In fact, since the minister declared MTN an SMP, their market share has grown instead of it fixing the distortion in the market. We will use the SMP as a corrective tool, not to punish an investor who has made solid investment in our country over the past years, but also to make sure that we create an equitable playing space for all the players so that the customer has multiplicity of options to benefit from. So the SMP will be used as a corrective tool, not as a punitive tool under the Mahama administration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You said you have 2 questions. I will now give the floor to Honorable Ritana Odolesoa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I wish to congratulate my brother, Honorable Sam George, on his nomination by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, for believing in you that you can. My question is, do you think there are too many taxes in the communications sector, and what do you intend to do about that?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This question is more like a trick question. I'm guided and minded that my brother, who has been vetted and approved by the House, Honorable Atufo Singh, is dealing with plugging a big, deep hole in our national purse. And so talking about taxes is pretty touchy. However, yes, if you look at the cost buildup for taxation. When you look at a network like Telecel, about 27.65% of the cost build-up is taxes. When you go to a network like MTN, it's almost 40%. It's important that we look at the taxes in there. I know that the government has indicated, our government has indicated that we'll repeal the COVID levy. The COVID levy is part of the cost build-up. But I think that one of the key things we need to do for the telcos to help with the pricing would be to look at power tariffs, because power tariffs is where the real issue is. That's where the real cost element comes. And conversations are already on the foot between myself and Honorable John Jinapo and the industry to see how we can work on that. But I believe that something has to be done about the tax build-up for the sector. Thank you.
You have additional questions. Please go ahead quickly.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to find out from the Honorable nominee. As members of Parliament, there's cybercrime ongoing where Facebook accounts of honorable members of Parliament, because I'm an MP, I'll speak to that. We have our accounts, I'll say impersonation of our accounts, and people are duping people through our names. And sometimes they'll say they're going to create employment for them. This is something we reported in the 8th Parliament, and nothing was done about it. These people have MTN Momo accounts, and they are able to get people to pay monies into those accounts, and it's a bit worrying. What do you intend to do, or what can you do about it when given the nod as the minister? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question is double-edged. You're talking about impersonation on social media, on platforms that are outside the jurisdiction, run from outside the jurisdiction, and then you're talking about mobile money fraud, which happens within the jurisdiction. On the Facebook platforms, I think that we're going to work closely with members of Parliament. The Speaker tried to do that with leadership of the House in the 8th Parliament to try and get all members of Parliament to come together and public government officials for us to identify your accounts and then verify those accounts. But let me use this platform to appeal to the young people and the people of our country. No member of Parliament or Minister of State will come into your inbox on Facebook and offer you a job. It is a scam. Please beware. We've given this notice several times because cyber awareness is the key to this. So we beg, no minister or MP will come and offer you a job. When it comes to the mobile money fraud, that's the more reason why we need to do the SIM re-registration. Because today when you ask the MNOs to identify for you who really uses that SIM, they're unable to do so because many of those SIMs were pre-registered SIMs. And if there's an instance I'm aware of last year where we pursued with the Cybersecurity Authority from Parliament here because it involved a member of Parliament. When we found out the card that was used to register the SIM, the individual whose card was used had never even gone to that MNO to register a SIM. So somebody had used his details to register that SIM. That's why we need to re-register the SIM. So we'll work with the MNOs to clean up the sector using SIM re-registration and then ensure KPIs that will drop cybercrime using mobile money fraud. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to wish him the very best and God's blessings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I proceed to recognize Honorable Samia Oku.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Nominee, permit me to take you back a bit to the question of LGBTQ. Let me take you back to 2014 during a program on multi-TV, Joy News, Joy TV. That time, it was Majority Caucus. And let me paraphrase. That is a direct quote, and I'm quoting in full. I believe that this matter has been overflogged and is being pushed just to suit a thing, parochial political agenda. C, irrespective of my personal opinion on homosexuals, the Constitution of this country remains supreme. And the Constitution of this country enjoins that everybody has right. And their rights must be protected. It's actually one of the preambles to the Constitution of Ghana. We must speak issues which are of necessity to the Ghanaian people. The amount of airtime we have wasted, I call it wasted, not spent, wasted talking about gays when we have pertinent issues of water, pertinent issues of power, potential petrol prices going up. Look, those are the things that bother everybody. And they don't care whether the president, at that time, His Excellency President Mahama, who published his book, is gay or not. This was in 2014. My friend and brother nominee, I want to ask, has this view changed? And if it has, what occasioned it?
Thank you very much. I would, if I had the opportunity, play the full recording of my submission for the purpose of the country, because what you have read is a 2 minutes, 14 seconds transcript.
I have the video. Do you want us to play it?
The transcript is of a 2 minutes, 14 section of a 14 minutes long submission.
Honorable nominee, I think the question that he's asking is whether or not your view has changed.
Chairman, respectfully, he layered the question. My answer needs to be layered as well. So I plead with you to give me some time.
My respected colleague, Chair, thank you for the opportunity. Sometimes the public misconstrue the engagement. You've been our colleague. When certain questions are being asked, they are not meant to embarrass you. I want you to sit here with a mindset that this inquisition is for the purpose of governance. No intention to disrespect you. We are political animals. There are times that when we are in the space of politics, we act in a certain manner. But with the benefit of hindsight, we all realize that, well, maybe this one, it could have been this or that. So Sam, take it easy, relax. This vetting process can be as short as possible, depending on posture, approach. I recall, and I will say this with the leave of chair, I recall, in my early days in practice, here was a young barrister advocating for bail on behalf of my clients. And in the bail application, I was talking too much law. I recall the district magistrate, after court, called me into his office and asked me whether I know why my client was denied bail. He said, normally, when you are appearing before a court and you want bail, the approach is not all about the law, how you even extend courtesies to the court. Situations where you think the court is erring, how you go about it will contribute materially to how the judge will treat your client. I'm just saying this to get you to take a deep breath, to listen, so we can have a very good interaction. Don't be agitated at all. Is that okay? Is that fair? Is that okay?
Mr. Chairman, I am in no way agitated. I'm extremely calm, and I just want to respond. And no offense taken to the question by my brother and friend. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, what I was saying was that it was a 14-minute submission. And in the quote, you hear that I spoke about, irrespective of what my views are, those views remain the same. In that video, in that submission, I said that homosexuality, as far as I am concerned, is an aberration of the mind. It has been my position in 2014. It is my position today. In 2014, we did not have an advocacy office opened in Ghana to promote LGBTQ. We didn't have it on our screens and in our books like we did in 2020. So the exigencies in 2014 were completely different from the exigencies in 2020 or 2021.
So, Honorable nominee, your views are the same. Yes. Please proceed to ask the second question.
Mr. Chairman, This is a follow-up, so it's not a second question, Mr. Chairman. It's a follow-up. Nominee, you spoke about almost a 14-minute video. But what I read, was it part of the 14-minute video? And if so, that's why I asked, if these words were part of the 14-minute video, has your views changed? Because first, it was general. Now, it is more specific of anti. That's why I'm asking, has the views changed? It's a direct one I asked. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Respectfully, Chairman.
Honorable member, I think from the answer, the view is the same. He said so.
Mr. Chairman, he's a colleague, a friend, and a brother. But this vetting is supposed to bring the best out of our appointees. So it's important that the narrative is set right. That's why, Mr. Chairman, I said I wanted him to respond directly. That's all. Then I'll go to my second question.
So please, direct respond.
My views have not changed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My second question to the nominee. Data has become a gold mine in Ghana. Data. In fact, even when you are bored, what you resort to is data. And tech companies are in a race to mine data from consumers, often devising sometimes unethical measures and means. Through unsolicited means, you get messages and all that. How do you hope to address this major challenge? Because there are people that you wake up every morning and you don't even know where and how they got your data and your number. So how do you want to help us as a nation address this challenge? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Data indeed is a gold mine, and we would resource and retool the Data Protection Commission under the guidance and leadership of His Excellency John Mahama to ensure that data protection is a priority in our country. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Have the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I would like to once again go on a follow-up.
Follow-up on data protection?
No, it wasn't on, yes, but basically now, I wasn't even just talking about the data protection. I also wanted to know some measures. I want some, at least, if you can, practical measures that you know that you can also adopt to help us address this challenge. And Honorable Nominee, let me give you an example. For instance, in my previous job as Director General of the NLA, on numerous occasions, you have National Security, NCA, Data Protection Authority writing to you and saying that consumers are complaining that you are sending them messages. Meanwhile, it wasn't from the NLA. That's why I want to know if you have some practical measures that you think can also help us address it. If you do not have it here, there's no problem. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The issue of unsolicited messages, if that's what you're referring to, unsolicited messages is one that is disturbing, and it's one that the regulator, the NCA, has gotten its marching orders since 7th of January 2025 to decide to work with the MNOs to clamp down on, to ensure that unsolicited messages are cut to the barest minimum. We'll work with the MNOs to ensure that that is fully applied. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My last question. Honorable Nominee, sometime, I think last year, and this question, I'm just giving you the background, because so it can help us with can help you with your answers.
Honorable Samuel.
First of all, Mr. Chairman, I will be. Mr. Chairman, this one affected everybody, that's why. You know, there was a time when totally almost everybody could not send messages. That's why I'm situating that question in that. You know, because they said underground cable, something had happened to it, left, right, center. So now my question, Honorable Nominee, does Ghana have a national emergency plan to guide how the country deals with these national disasters, which incorporates telecommunication? Am I allowed to ask my question? Mr. Chairman. What? Mr. Chairman, that's what they are heckling me. The Honorable
Honorable members, order. Please proceed to ask your last question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity again. In fact, that deals with national disaster, which incorporate telecommunication and meteorological data. The role of communication in such management of such telecommunication disasters, because we all experienced it at some point in time last year. If we don't have such a plan, no one can anticipate tomorrow. Is this something that is key on your agenda as well in these days of technological age?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The record of President Mahama speaks to the fact that this will be a critical part. The National Emergency Operations Center, which today is the nerve center of our emergency response, was built by him in 2015. Now that he's back in 2025, we will give full actualization to that center using technology to ensure that we have a proper disaster recovery plan in place. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
My follow-up, the last one. Mr. Chairman, 3 questions and follow-ups. Mr. Chairman. So, Honorable Nominee, my last question, which is also a follow-up, is that personally, do you think that the cost of bundle, data, and all that, do you think that it's expensive as compared to other places, or you think we are paying the right prices for it? Thank you.
Well, this is not a follow-up, but I'll allow the nominee to provide the answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I hold the view respectfully that we could get more value for what we pay as a country for data. I've already begun conversations on the instructions of His Excellency the President with stakeholders to ensure that we get more value. More value could be in reduction in prices or increases in offerings. So it could be that if you paid, for example, 100 Ghana cedis and you got 100 gig of data, we could maintain the same 100 Ghana cedis but give you 150 gig of data. So that's more value. Or the 100 gig could drop to 75 cedis. There are different models around it. But like I said in an earlier answer, we're working around what goes into the cost element, largely electricity, and some work has begun on that. So yes, we hope to see prices of data hopefully drop before the end of this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll give the floor to Honorable Shaibu Mama. And Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dapamoko should be in readiness to follow up.
Chairman, let me thank you very much. Honorable, my brother Sam George, congratulations. A well-deserved nomination. Sam, let me take you to rural telephony. And I do this for and on behalf of many legislators seated here and those who are not here, who represent rural communities. Indeed, rural telephony has become a big issue in all election cycles. Those of you in the cities are very blessed to be covered by the national coverages. But sometimes 80% of some communities or some constituencies have no network at all. Sam, tell us what plans you have for rural telephony. Elaborate plans. The rural people are listening to you and have asked me to tell you that the people in the city are the ones who care about. But the rural people write exams, JHS exams. They have to travel to the towns to just use internet to access results. That tells the importance of telephony and network in the rural communities. Please tell the country and tell the rural people what plans you have for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I crave your indulgence to give me 2 minutes to answer this question because he's asked for an elaborate plan. My appointer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the great-grandson of Indeo Rajapaksa.
Honorable nominee, try and do it in 1 minute, 20 seconds.
He comes from a village, a rural community. And one of my marching orders is to ensure universal access. In fact, just this past week, His Excellency was in Kenya, where he signed up to universal access for electricity and internet on the African continent. Now, how are we going to do this? GIFEC, the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, is the primary driver of rural connectivity. If you read our manifesto, we state explicitly that we're expanding that mandate to make it the Digital Economy Development Fund. So it's able to do even more than just that. But what we're going to do is an aggressive process to make sure that as we saw rural electrification under Jerry John Rawlings, you will see massive rural last-mile connectivity under John Dramani Mahama. We need spectrum for that. And one of the things we can use to do that is to do the digital switchover, which will open up TV white spaces. Ghana should have done the switchover in 2015. It didn't happen. So we will do that. And then the last thing that we're going to do is, as a government, we're going to prioritize making sure that the equipment that was ordered with the taxpayers' money under the last administration and have sat in a warehouse for 2 years and for which warranty has expired,
Please conclude,
we would find a way of bringing those equipments out and using them for the benefit of the Ghanaian people.
Conclude.
Chairman, I did 1 minute, 45 seconds. Thank
you very much. Any further question?
Indeed, you were short, but elaborate. Leader, my second question, second and last, actually. 80, Airtel Tigo, 100% Ghana, government of Ghana. Is that the case? 100% government of Ghana. Airtel Tigo.
Yes, please. If approved by this House, I will be the CEO, chairman, and board of Airtel Tigo. 100% owned by government of Ghana.
Beautiful. They still run a 3G. Is that the case?
Yes, please.
Please, Airtel Tigo not competitive enough to rake in the needed revenue for government. Obsolete equipment. I mean, they just can't compete in the market. Please, tell us what plans you have for Airtel Tigo. On that note, I wish you very well in your new role. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Airtel Tigo is a sorry example of what mismanagement of the telecom sector has been in 8 years. Because Airtel Tigo is the illicit love child of Airtel and Tigo. That was tried to be fused together to make it survive, but still, it has end-of-life equipment, debt in excess of 500 million. It's really unsustainable. But there is a roadmap under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to find a way where we'll have no job losses and to consolidate government's shareholdings into a viable enterprise in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Roxanne, you have the floor.
Chairman, thank you. The 7 boys, myself, you, Yusuf, Mutala, Ernest, Adongo, Suhini, and Jinapo. Today we are here. I have no doubt about your abilities and qualities that you bring to bear. Just be careful. I know you will succeed. I wish you all the best. We are in this together. I wish you all the best. The question about rural telephony has been asked. And you know, we've been there together. How, as MPs, we are worried by our constituents to improve the networks in the various hinterlands for them. You are in charge now, and I know you are going to roll out good programs to improve that. Congratulations once more, my brother.
Thank you very much. I give the floor to Deputy Ranking, Honorable Patricia Apiaje. Very well, very well. She has yielded to Jerry Shaib.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Congratulations, Honorable Sam George. I think you have also said a piece of nonsense when Dr. Baumia had just finished a certain presentation.
Honorable Jerry Shaib, once I ordered that be expunged from the record, I do not think we should revisit that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I'll take the common sense bit out. You've used such words as useless and gibberish, and many actually think you are very disrespectful. I want the Ghanaian people to be assured that whatever they are thinking is contrary to what you are. Please tell us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, respectfully, opinions are like noses. Everyone is entitled to one. My mother and father who gave birth to me are sitting behind me, and I'm sure they are proud of the son that they have raised. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chairman, I remember my literature tutor taught me something. What you said, opinion is like gnosis. Is that correct? I just want. So what I'm saying, the literature is a simile, yeah? Yes. Simile. So like and as, you use that, those are similes, okay. Honorable nominee, would you want to respond to his question in another form without the use of this simile?
Mr. Chairman, I have come to know the honorable member who asked the question recently. But if there's one person on this panel who has known me for years, and I believe could be a proper character reference, and attest to the fact that I am not abusive and disrespectful, it's the ranking member on the committee, Honorable Afenyo Markins. And so, yes, I reiterate, I'm not a disrespectful person. I have opinions, I state them forcefully, but I am not disrespectful. Thank you.
Haven't you brought peace onto yourself with this beautiful? Because honorable nominee, before we got into this room, maybe you didn't follow, but Mr. Speaker admonished all of us and said that we have to be careful about the things that we say that to us makes us popular in the gallery. Our followers, that's what they want to hear. You remember the 79, let the blood flow. The same people turn around to now say Jerry Rawlings was this and that. You remember? So we have to be very careful, you know.
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I don't remember. I wasn't born.
No, I'm not saying.
I was born in 85.
No. I'm saying we have. I'm saying that at least we have done government. We've read history, and all. I was born in 78. I'm sure I was a baby during the revolution, but at least I've come to realize that the same Ghanaians who yesterday called on street justice were the same people who were saying that they want rule of law and all. So I'm just drawing your attention, all right? Yes, please. Let's land safely. Your advocates are many. Let's land safely. Don't disappoint your advocates. Yo.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Proceed with your other question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. So I just want to find out, in the midst of current dispensation, if Ghana Post is still a relevant institution with all these technological advancements, and if at all, what would you do to further equip it to play an active role in the courier services?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is a very important question. In fact, one of the most important I've had here today. Many people don't know that Ghana Post sits under the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technologies and Innovation. On Friday last week, I took briefings from the management of Ghana Post in preparation for this vetting. And one of the charges I gave to them was to rethink the whole essence of the post office. Because the post office may be seen to be a dying concern, but in other parts of the world, the post office has become a revolving place for several other services apart from just the delivery of services, of goods and parcels. And so I tasked the management there to begin to rethink the way we can make the post office a 360-degree service center, especially leveraging on the enhanced community information centers that we have built across the country and partnering with GIFEC on those to make them truly digital centers where you can get more than just delivery of parcels. So I'm adding them with you on that. We need to make it more than just receiving and sending parcels. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not have a follow-up on that. I just want to believe that one of the major or current problems we have, I don't know if you've heard this terminologies, Sakawa, 419, internet fraud, cybersecurity really. And the fact that I heard you earlier mention people having some Facebook accounts, 10, 20, and it's only perhaps you have one, even when it's validated. I'm just wondering, cybersecurity authority that we have, we still have a lot of online impersonation and cyber fraud and mobile money fraud. I do not know what steps you have or you intend to bring on board to curb, even though I really take care of this, because we have a lot of cyber issues. I mean, people are not too sure whether or not mobile money is the way to go, although it's very functional and active. You pay, the next thing you know is being received by the wrong person.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I believe that one of the challenges we've had is that we've not been able to grow our cybersecurity authority because of lack of capacity and funding. There's a raise-on project that was begun under the last government. It's stalled for almost 4 years. They need just about $5 million to kickstart the project. That's one of the things we'll be prioritizing to make sure that the cybersecurity authority is fully tooled and equipped to be able to deliver. However, on the issues of mobile money fraud, we have to work collaboratively with the MNOs. And that's why we have to go back to the issue of SIM re-registration again, to properly register the SIMs so that the MNOs can identify who it is. Because it's one thing blocking the SIMs, it's another thing tracking the persons, the cartels behind it, and being able to arrest them and prosecute them. You need to be able to identify persons who hold SIMs. And so working together with the regulators in the space, we will get it done. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a follow-up. On SIM registration, so what are the good people of Ghana expected to do with the new, your intention to re-register SIMs? What's going to happen to the ones we have already? Or those who have taken time to have registered earlier? What happens to them? How much is that going to cost you to undertake such a project?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. All three questions have been previously answered by me. If I have the direction for me to repeat my answers, then I'll proceed.
Please do. You can repeat the answers, but be brief.
No Ghanaian will lose their SIM cards. They have to do nothing. It's going to be a technology-driven exercise between the NCA, the MNOs, and the National Identification Authority. If there are any disparities in the records, such individuals will be notified to visit their service provider. But majority, we believe that over 90% of SIM holders would not have to visit their service providers. So there will be no activity done. You just get notification that the verification has happened back end and you're verified.
Just to ask, if there's no cost that will be incurred during the process.
I'm coming there. Yes. Will there be cost incurred? There will be cost, but it will be borne by the MNOs because it serves the MNOs' own purpose for them to be able to know who is holding their SIMs. Because if they can't identify who are holding the SIMs, they are liable to fines from the NCA. They would rather have us do a clean identity SIM register than to get fines.
Thank you, Honorable.
That's it. Yeah,
your last question.
I'm okay.
Thank you. I now give the floor to the minority leader and ranking member of the committee. And honorable members, because he has given me his words, I would have to take leave of you to go and preside over the house. So, please, Roxanne, just.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable nominee, first, I thank you for making time to answer questions as part of the process of your eventual appointment as a Minister of State. Let me also commend you for availing yourself for this process. I've sent you a paper. I want you to read the content aloud, and we shall begin our journey for the engagement. Please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. The paper handed to me has the peace prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Fortified by this, I'm sure your faith will lead you to provide the necessary honest answers that will be required for the purpose of this engagement. My respected colleague, you rightly said that you and I have known each other for many years. Rightly so. In my days as an entrepreneur at Trade Fair, where I was running my transport logistics business, you as a young man rented some of my trucks to do business. And we've had a very excellent relationship since then. I won't be the person to obstruct your career path. In the least, I should guide as your senior brother. Going through your CV, you are 85 born, I'm 78. I've seen a lot that you are here to see. Now, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. My respected colleague, Honorable Abu Jinapo, had posed a question to you regarding views you had earlier expressed about the Chief Justice. One of it was to the effect that she was deliberately delaying a suit in court, which suit you and I notoriously know it to be the LGBT suit. Do you, with the benefit of St. Francis's prayer, which you have invoked, think that you were fair to my lady in the comment you made about her publicly? Which comment she's not had an opportunity to publicly rebut. Do you think you were fair?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, given the facts available to me at the time I made those comments, I believe that they were made in good faith at the time I made the comment.
The benefit of hindsight. And now that you know, and granted, I just want to be fair to you. The case had certain applications flying here and there, and there were parties to it, and the respondent defendant's lawyer had made certain applications to the court, which I'm sure you didn't know at the time, correct?
Mr. Chair, I knew.
Okay, if you did, then the various adjournments which were occasioned by the defendant's lawyers couldn't have been the cause of my lady, the Chief Justice, correct?
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I disagree.
So, it is your case for public records that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, deliberately delayed the suit that was before the Supreme Court. It is your case.
Mr. Chairman, my argument had always been...
Honorable nominee, respectfully, is it your case that the LGBT case mounted by my respected friend Richard Delasky, barrister at law, etc., was deliberately delayed by the Chief Justice of the Republic? Is that your position? Yes, no?
Mr. Chairman, the description are your attributions, not mine. My words were that she had the power to move the case faster than it was being done. And subsequent actions after the demonstration that I led have actually proved my position to be true. That when the Chief Justice gives a timeline, everybody, respondent or plaintiff, Attorney General inclusive, must abide by it. When she invoked her powers, everybody complied. So my contention that she could have expedited it if she had given earlier timelines were proving right by her subsequent actions. Thank you.
Do you think that prior to your comment, she was not doing her job well? Is that your case?
Mr. Chairman, I thought she could have done better in the exercise of her public office.
Do you think that your commentary was fair to her?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that all public officers are subject to constructive criticism, and I consider my comments constructive criticism.
Honorable Sam George, the process of empaneling, the process a case travels involving parties cannot be at the instance of the Chief Justice of the Republic. Do you agree to that?
The rules of procedure dictate who is responsible for empaneling of judges in cases.
Do you have evidence that my lady, the Chief Justice, delayed in empaneling justices for the case?
Mr. Chairman, there was never a question about a delay in empaneling. There was a question about a delay in hearing.
What occasioned the delay in hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that only the Chief Justice can explain to this House why, when she gave us a date of July 18th for ruling, when we appeared before her on the 18th of July, she chose to adjourn ruling on the matter indefinitely. I can't speak to her reasoning.
Were you a party in the case?
Not directly, sir.
Were you a party in the case? Were you a party in the suit?
Not on the record.
Had you filed as an interested party in the suit, Mr. Sam George?
Not on the record.
Was it fair?
Leader. Leader, you just...
Chairman, thank you very much. Honorable nominee, you have just answered to the question from the ranking that you were not a party of record in the matter under interrogation. And you also did not file as an amicus. But can you confirm whether the subject of the litigation affected you?
Very much so. I was one of 8 sponsors of the bill before the court.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairman, I would want to respectfully crave the indulgence of my colleagues to allow us to have a good understanding of what we are doing. Have a smooth inquisition that will help democracy. Very uninterrupted. So, you have answered to a follow-up question that you had an interest in the case.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Yet you didn't deem it fit to get into the case through your lawyer or by yourself.
Mr. Chairman, I had absolute trust in the representation for Mr. Speaker, who was a plaintiff and who, in my opinion, represented the interest of the sponsors of the bill. Thank you.
You mean the defendant, because the Parliament was a defendant?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Nominal defendant for that matter, because the principal defendant in the matter was the Attorney General. It being a constitutional matter.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
So I'm asking you that when you say we were given a date, what were you referring to?
I was referring to the defendants in the case.
Which defendant you were not part of on record?
Not on record.
So you agree with me that when you not being a defendant, and you not being a party in the suit, having criticized the Chief Justice in the manner you did was unfair to her office. You would agree with me?
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, no.
Very well. When the Chief Justice who presided adjourned the suit sine die, indefinite, adjourned without a date, did you talk to the defendant's lawyers, that is the lawyers for Parliament, as to the reason?
Yes, I did, and they said no reason was given for the adjournment. The Chief Justice said she wanted to hear the substantive case before giving a judgment on the injunction case, because there were 2 cases before the court, the substantive case and the case for injunction. Now, the decision not to give a ruling on the injunction case basically and technically stayed in the hand of Parliament indefinitely, because so long as there was no ruling, Parliament could not appeal, Parliament could not act. It held Parliament in abeyance for almost 5 months.
Is that what the lawyers told you? Because we would then need to subpoena the lawyers to take the oath, because you are anchoring your criticism of the learned Chief Justice of the Republic to something that is done. So I just want to know from you whether the lawyers told you. I'm not done.
Leader, can I, with respect?
No problem, no problem.
Yeah, please.
I have all the words.
Yeah. Okay, you can come in, please.
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, thank you very much. Honorable nominee, you just answered to a question that you made some comments after the court's adjournment.
Yes, please.
In the matter.
Yes,
by way of criticism.
Yes, please.
Can you confirm? Let me, Chairman, please. Can we have some order around the table, Chairman?
Please go ahead. Let's have one meeting, please. Please go ahead.
Mr. Nominee, let me avert your mind to the constitutional provision contained in Article 21, one of the Constitution. Now, may I put it to you, and by way of a yes and no, that whether your right as encapsulated in Article 21(1), which is to this effect, all persons shall have the right to freedom of speech and expression, which shall include freedom of the press and other media, and B, freedom of thought, conscience, and belief, which shall include academic freedom. Can you confirm to this committee, yes or no, whether the exercise of that right to criticism was framed, anchored on this provision of the Constitution, which guarantees that freedom?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, leader, please continue.
Mr. Sam George.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Did you receive any information regarding the reasons for the adjournment sine from the lawyers for the second defendant parliament?
Mr. Speaker, I wasn't client to the lawyers, so they didn't need to give me any information.
Did the lawyers tell you that the inability of the court to make a pronouncement on the said dates affected the work of Parliament?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think it's in the place of the lawyers to determine what affects the work of Parliament. That's the role of Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
You had said that because of the decision of that day, Parliament could not proceed with its work, and that affected its work for some 5 months, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Did that information come from the lawyers to you?
Mr. Chairman, that information came to me from my reading of Article 106 of the Constitution, and with your leave, I would read.
Yes, please. Kindly take the leave of chair, not me.
Yes. Mr. Chair, do I have your permission? So I read Article 106(7) of the Constitution, and that's what I premised that submission on. Where a bill passed by Parliament is presented to the President for assent, he shall signify within 7 days after the presentation to the Speaker that he assents to the bill or that he refuses to assent to the bill, unless the bill has been referred by the President to the Council of State under Article 90 of this Constitution. Parliament was unable, in fact, there was a letter, a cease and desist letter, signed by then Executive Secretary to the President, Nana Asante Bediotwo, asking Parliament not to transmit the bill as passed by Parliament, premised on the fact that there was a pending court case. Even though I think that it's important we take judicial notice that his letter to Parliament came a day before any lawsuit was filed before the courts. Thank you.
I am asking you, do you think that your attack on the Chief Justice of the Republic had any basis in the exercise of those your constitutional rights?
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I did not attack the Chief Justice. I criticized her, and she's not above criticism. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, do you remember the words you used in criticizing the Chief Justice?
Mr. Chairman, I criticized her extensively. I can't remember all the words. Thank you.
Paraphrase in context your criticism of her, what you said.
I'm unable to repeat any of those here, Mr. Chairman, because it's being the exigencies of time have overtaken it. If there is any specific reference you would like to make, I'm willing to respond to that. Thank you.
Did you write on your social media wall those criticisms? Did you write them?
I want to believe that I express my views on social media house. Yes.
We would give you an opportunity to refer to your social media wall and read aloud and in full those criticisms that you don't readily remember. So go to your social media wall, pick it, we'll give you time so that you can read it, then we can proceed.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know about the ranking member, but I'm extremely active on social media. In fact, one of the most active politicians in this country on social media. It will be an exercise for me to say that I am scrolling through the hundreds and thousands of posts to begin to scan and identify. If I had been given foreknotice of this, I could have gotten a team to do that. But I believe that if there's a particular case that is in question, I could be referred to it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, our proceedings allow a member time to rely on an important document. Therefore, if the member will need time to go through the particular post, we would give him the time. He should be able to furnish us with that. So, Chairman, with the greatest respect, let him have the time to make that available.
Mr. Chairman, if there is the need for evidence of that, I can subsequently provide that to the committee. I can print out my entire timeline history for the purposes of the committee, because I will not be able to tell what would be of interest to the questioner. So I'll print out my entire timeline for the committee subsequent to this engagement. Thank you.
Honorable Roxon. Honorable Roxon, you have the floor.
Chairman, thank you very much. Honorable nominee, social media has been defined in our statutes. How many social media platforms do you have? And which one particularly is in question? We know of Facebook, we know of Twitter, which is now X, we know of WhatsApp pages, we know of TikTok. So Chairman, it will be prudent and for the ranking member to be specific, because social media refers to a plethora of other media platforms that are deployed in cyberspace. So if he can be specific, then I believe that the nominee can be properly guided and to also tailor his answers to those particular references. With all due respect, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Leader, would you like to be specific on the issue you've just raised?
Chairman, before I proceed, I want to suggest to you to kindly reiterate an earlier call by the chair of this committee, which call was to some of our colleagues who join us but are not members. I don't want to mention a name. I repeat, I don't want to mention a name. But I want to urge my colleagues who are joining us, you may say something not for the record, but when I hear, I would respond to you. Let us ensure decorum. This exercise requires mutual respect. Some of you are knowing Sam George for the first time. The minority is supposed to do its work. So if you are a first timer and you are here by the grace of God, take this opportunity and learn, and not to call your leader names. If you attempt to act in a manner unbecoming of a backbencher who has just joined parliament, you will be schooled to know the courtesies that are accorded leaders, especially when a leader is on a firm ground in his duties. Honorable nominee, my respected colleague, in your own words, you have had the occasion to to criticize the Chief Justice of the Republic in a matter that you were not a party to, correct?
Correct.
In your own words, these criticisms were written on your social media platform, correct?
Not